How strong is Natsu in 100-Year Quest? A question simple enough to answer if I'm being honest, which is what makes it so tough to turn this sort of a topic into a long video, as what makes up the majority of 100-Year Quest scaling when it comes to the Pentadrakes and Natsu are the numerous comparisons made between their strength and Acnologia's strength. So obviously one of the best ways to gauge the strength of the Pentadrakes, some of which remain featless enigmas, is to simply look at Acnologia's feats and simply put their base stats on par with those. But the thing is, I already have a 20+ minute video on Fairy Tail discussing pretty much every fucking high-end feat and meta in the series, including all of Acnologia's shit. So at some point it starts to get redundant. And so instead, I'll just be strictly talking about feats performed by the Pentadrakes themselves to scale them, and I'll be disregarding all comparisons to Acnologia. Think of it like a 100-Year Quest feat run, sort of. 100-Year Quest being a series relatively short in comparison to, the main series, which spans like fucking 500 chapters. 100-Year Quest spanning less than 100. So this will be a shorter video than the original, obviously, with there being incredibly less to talk about, but still really impressive feats I want to discuss in particular. So with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So possibly the most impressive feat on this list, and one of the first feats shown in the 100-Year Quest series that actually attests to the planetary power of these Pentadrakes, was brought into the verse just by Aldoron existing. Aldoron, the wood dragon god, having a body so massive his torso dwarfed mountains and his head scraped high into the clouds. One very in-depth calc in particular, which used the surrounding mountains and landscape to find Aldoron's dimensions, found that Aldoron had a total height of 250 kilometers. For comparison, Everest, the tallest mountain on Earth, is only 8 kilometers tall, which is roughly 31 times smaller than this big fucking tree monster. This same calc in particular also finding that Aldoron would produce roughly 1 petaton through 85 zetatons of kinetic energy for walking and running respectively, which is multi-continental through planetary. Shit, even just Aldoron photosynthesizing as a giant fucking tree has been calculated requiring about 4 petatons of TNT. So yeah, everything this big bitch does is just going to be impressive due to his size, right? So it's not really fair. And all the power that resides within the big body of Aldoron is said to exist within the avatar that Natsu fought, right? So obviously these niggas should scale to this. Beyond this nigga was just stated planetary, so... Okay, so I actually think a lot of you guys might agree with me on this when I say this, but this might be the first feat in Fairy Tail which actually depicts the world-altering power of Fairy Tail characters. We have seen characters perform similar size manipulation feats to this, i.e. Irene shrinking a country, just never on this level before, with the moon dragon goddess Selene making the moon more than 958 times its original size in the sky, using change in gravitational binding energy for the original moon to the new far bigger moon essentially created by Selene, and this feat was calculated over 2.7 yotatons of TNT, far eclipsing anything done by Aldoron and placing these Fairy Tail characters at large planetary. But as it can be argued that Selene moved the moon and made it appear bigger, then the results would be far different, as what would determine the AP of this feat would be kinetic energy, the amount of energy an object possesses due to the motion it essentially has, or how much energy is required to move the moon the distance it was moved in the time frame it happened. Most calcs finding that the moon would have needed to been moved roughly 10 million meters or 9 times closer to the planet than it originally was to appear 958 times bigger, in a feat calculated requiring 11 zetatons of TNT, which is small planetary and just slightly worse than Aldoron's KE. And once again, we have seen feats like this in the Fairy Tail universe, just on a much smaller scale, i.e. Irene pulling a meteor from fucking space, which could be argued as being similar to Selene pulling the moon from space. We do have evidence to support, both ideas, that she's enlarging the moon and that she's pulling it closer to Earth. So to avoid contention, I just decided to mention both arguments, but feel free to use whichever one you think is best. Alright, so this next feat is pretty straightforward and simple to understand, so stay with me here. The world of Alinthir was going to explode due to massive increases in the amount of magic within the world caused by distortions in space-time, which themselves were caused by Selene's unrestricted movement in space-time and through alternate dimensions. This overflowing amount of magic, acting as the source of all magic in Alinthir, culminated itself into a giant face creature, and as usual, Natsu and the gang had to beat the shit out of it. So this shit was obviously going to blow up a planet. Standard planetary destruction is like 59 zettatons. So, yeah, they planetary. But if I'm being honest, there's been too much planetary shit in this video already. And as power scalers are one to do, we can take this shit way further than we are probably meant to. As the world of Alinthir is not just a different planet within the universe, but rather a different world within a different time-space. Time-space magic being needed to traverse the three worlds of Edelus, Alinthir, and Earthland, and time-space being significantly distorted as a result of traveling between these three realms, with the wiki even describing Alinthir as a parallel universe to Earthland's universe, which has a full starry cosmos, etc. And more importantly, within the manga, these three worlds are not described as planets, but rather dimensions. With this, many people like to argue that the destruction of the world of Alinthir doesn't just refer to the planet, but the entirety of its time-space, which, in my opinion, is the biggest fucking stretch ever. Please never in life make this fucking argument. Like, honestly, there are way better uni arguments. Anyway, just watch my last goddamn fairy tale video. Alright, we're finally at the end of the video, and I just wanted to ask you guys what you thought. Do you agree with my scaling, or is Natsu still not even planetary? Feel free to leave your opinions in the comments, and I'll only troll your shit. If you're too wrong, I promise. No, but in all seriousness, please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed. And please do leave a comment and tell me how I did. It really does help the channel. Oh, and if you fuck with my commentary, please check out the gaming videos. We're gonna make those a much bigger part of the channel. I honestly do love to fucking play video games. So I guess that's the end of the video. I don't know. See ya. Fuck.